Hi there, it's Jill Kaufman again. I am very excited to be here with Nicki Laberge. She's a post-divorce coach for women, and we are talking about the 5 phases of healing post-divorce. Welcome, Nicki.
Hi, Jill. Thank you for having me.
Well, so let's go right into this. Why do people have to heal when they're going through divorce in order to move forward?
I think because I coach specifically women, I'm going to speak to this from the viewpoint of women and as a woman. And I think most of us as women, when we're married, we tend to stay quiet. We tend to do a lot of things to keep the peace. We tend to do a lot of things to make sure that other people are taken care of. And when we do that, we sacrifice parts of ourselves every single day. And then when we get divorced, and we, especially after we get through the chaos of the divorce, the business side of divorce, the logistics of the divorce, that's when we kind of go, oh, well, if I'm not sacrificing, if I'm not taking care of everybody else, if I'm not this person anymore, if I don't have this role, this label, then who am I and what do I do?
Absolutely. So, I mean, that happens with a lot of people, and I think healing is one of the best things that you can do while you're going through your post-divorce process in order to move forward. So, I love that. So, let's get to the 5 phases of healing post-divorce.
Right. So after my own divorce, and then after talking to so many women that led me to becoming a post-divorce coach for women, I realized that most of us go through different things, and we kind of have to go through them to get to the growth and the healing that those of us that want this that are seeking. And so I created the 5 phases of healing around my experience and other women's experiences. So the first phase is the reveal phase. So this phase is all about revealing things that we don't necessarily understand. So, what are our underlying beliefs? What are the stories that we tell ourselves that we don't even realize? And what are our patterns? So, we have to understand what those are and where they came from. And so that's what we do in the reveal phase is we bring all of that to the surface. And then the release phase is phase two. And that is where we release those old stories and those patterns and those beliefs. So I'm a root cause therapy certified practitioner, and I use that modality for the first 2 phases. So we reveal them in phase one, and then we release them in phase two using root cause therapy.
Can you just give us
The,
a little bit about root cause therapy? What is that?
So it is a modality that allows us to dive into the subconscious mind. So we get to go a little bit deeper. So I use guided visualizations to speak to the subconscious mind. And essentially, what we do is we find a belief and then we go into the moment that that belief was created. So we do this through the guided visualization. And when we go in there and we go right into that event, right into the moment it was created, we can get to the truth behind it. Because a lot of our beliefs, they're not based on truth. They're based on how we internalized something that was happening around us or to us. And they're not always real. Same with the stories we create, they're not real. They're really protective measures that we created in the moment that don't serve us for the rest of our lives. But yet we carry them with us and we let them drive our decisions and we let them run our lives because we're so unaware of them.
That is great. I'm so glad that you highlighted that because a lot of people don't even know about that type of therapy. So, what is the third phase of healing?
So the third phase is regulate. So we all know that we need to, or we should have a regulated nervous system. But that's really hard to do when you have maybe been living in something like survival mode, or you've been living in an unhealthy situation, whatever that looks like, whatever it was for you. And so it's really hard to regulate. And that's why I have it as phase three, because we can't regulate until we find safety in our bodies and in our minds. And so we have to reveal the things that are holding us back. We have to release those things. And then we can find a safety in our body where we can actually start to regulate our nervous system. So, phase three is all about regulate and building a regulation practice. So, what do you do in those moments when that trauma response starts to get activated? What do you do when you get to the end of the day and you went, oh, I'm exhausted. Why am I exhausted today? Oh, I wasn't very regulated. Why? So, it gives you tools and a practice to help you get back to regulation quicker. And then eventually the goal is to be able to stay there as much as we can.
Awesome. Okay, four. Phase.
Four is, yeah, this one I get excited about because it's the reclaim phase. So, this is where we talk about things like boundaries, how important boundaries are to protect the regulation that you're learning about, how important are boundaries to just help you feel good and to say no when saying yes feels wrong. How many times as a woman have I sat there and inside and it's like, no, 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 say no, say no. And the word that comes out of my mouth is yes. And so it's learning to own your no, and understanding boundaries and how to use them to protect yourself. It is about self-care. So as women, it's a $1 billion industry for us to, the beauty standards and self-care. I don't talk about bubble baths and candles. Yes, I love those things, don't get me wrong, but I want to talk about self-care from an emotional standpoint, a mental standpoint, a physical standpoint, a financial standpoint. Let's talk about the things that are really, really important and build a life from there. And those things are boundaries, learning to trust yourself, understanding your core values, and living from there. So, reclaim is all about just that, reclaiming who you are and who you're becoming.
And it really sounds like you're empowering people to feel in control of their lives and their choices and their future.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Okay, final phase, phase five of healing.
Final phase is rise. So, this is where you take everything that you revealed and released and regulated and everything you learned and reclaim, you put it all together and you rise into the woman that you've always wanted to be and you live the life you've always wanted to live. So, it's just everything coming together.
That's amazing. I love it. And so where can people get in touch with you?
So they can find me pretty much on all social media platforms. I am under my name on LinkedIn, Nicki Laberge. I am on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all at Healing You First Coaching. And then my website is www.healingyoufirstcoaching.com.
That's awesome. And the link for your website and to get in touch with you will be under this video. Thank you, Nikki, so much for sharing your wisdom. And I'm excited for people to learn about this.
Thank you so much, Jill.
Take care.